What's up, fam? Welcome to the D.M.C podcast, episode number 24, with your hosts, myself, Adam Rigby, and the fitness icon that is Cody Hunter. My bro, greetings and salutations. How are you?
Mate, I'm very good. Thank you, bro. It's been a good day, good week, actually, very busy. And this time of day that we're recording this right now is like Cody Hunter, old man time. This is the old man time of the day, the witching hour, mate. So it's either going to be a really good podcast or a complete disaster because, it's a good time of the day, mate, to party.
Let's be optimistic and go for really good. Really
mate,
good.
It's always going to be real good, bro. Don't you worry about that, mate. Guaranteed. It's the only thing we can really guarantee, eh?
Yes. And speaking of optimism, mate, personally, my high level of optimism has been tested to the 10th degree. So I confirm that I am an optimist because I've had faith. I've had a significant contracting project that has been ongoing for the past number of months. And you only know what you know. You learn and you grow. There are things and people you find that you cannot rely on completely, and therein lies the lesson for them. But if you ask for help, if you invite people to share the journey with you, I can confirm that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it is not a train heading straight for you. It is the glorious sunshine. So, mate, we are close to our big, hairy, audacious construction goal that has changed. We've got another contractor, another builder who is amazing. Had a guy here, contractor today, doing some concrete work, and he was unbelievable. I just had to thank him and tell him personally that I really appreciate what he did. I mean, it's bread and butter for them, right? They front up and do stuff. It's what they do day in. And I said, mate, what you have done today has turned this whole entire project around for me, where I thought we were nearly lost and my optimism was starting to wane. We are back. We are back, peeps. So buzzing.
Bro, tell me.
Fucking buzzing.
Here's a question for you, bro. It's a good one because it's something that just relates to lots of stuff. At what point do we say, fuck, we need a change of tact? Do you know what I mean? Like we as humans, we like to push through stuff. But when it comes to projects or people you're working with or for or against, whatever, at what point, bro, do we go, you know what? Fuck, it's time to cut our losses here. Like, how'd that roll for you in this situation?
Yeah, I think we're smart individuals, and what I endeavour to do is give people the benefit of the doubt, right? Give them the opportunity, being the expert. There are things that you know that when it's just not going to get fixed. The issue with this, the original goal was just communication, right? Poor communication and getting someone on site to do it, and he was overcommitted, and that was his issue. But you know, when you are getting something done, this is the biggest thing for me, and he's got to balance that. So the learning lesson for him is just managing the expectations, and all it comes down to is open and honest communication. So it came to a point where I just couldn't deal with the frustration, and again, this was half of the project mind and the potential frustration leading into another project. You're talking about a significant amount of time and a significant amount of money. I'll give you a very good example. So I was given or recommended another contractor, another builder, to do the decking part, and we have 41 square meters of decking to go down. And I contacted him, and he said, "Yep, mate, I do have a window. Is it okay if I arrange time to come and see you?" I said, "Yes, that'd be fabulous." Next day, he's on my doorstep, comes down, measures, looks, suggests a couple of things. We have a quick chat. He goes away. That night, I had a quote and a 3D rendering of the project itself. I thought, amazing, this is great. And not only that, but options in terms of the timber that I was going to select. We went with a hardwood, which is definitely more expensive, but hard wearing, looks trick. But that's by the wayside. I accepted the quote because it was there or thereabouts with the others that I had received. Some were just ridiculous, and others were where I thought in terms of knowing how many hours, etc. You know, you always know best when you're shifting the money out, right? But you don't. It's only worth what people are prepared to pay for it, and that level was bang on for me. He said, fantastic. he was open in terms of, he said, I've got another project going on at the moment, but it may not go ahead due to some material issues, so I will let you know. The next day he rang me and said, mate, we are off with this project, which means we are on with yours. Can I drop some timber off today? Fantastic. Yep. So he dropped the timber off that day. The next day he was on site. Now it was cold, it was wet. And for the other project, the other side of it, my other contractor, I had about 10 bits of wood to nail to finish a privacy fence. It was deemed to be too cold and wet for him to do that, for someone to come and do that. But here was my other guy digging 15 holes and setting 15 posts. Same weather the next day, came in, concrete arrived, set, same deal. And it just so happened that the weather was mint enough that old mate came and arranged his apprentice, who was the apprentice, was amazing, super good guy, nice as you like, very skilled. But you know, I could see he bore the brunt of the pressure, because these are the guys that are going to front up the site as well. So it's that, you know, that cluster. You call it a cluster. And so very two different ways of approaching it, but you know, peace of mind for me, knowing that this other guy was onto it. And every day he's been checking in with me saying, hey, this is the deal, this is where we're at, this is what I'm going to do, this is what you can expect, just call me if you've got any issues. I had some advice over the concrete, which was exposed aggregate, that didn't quite work, which was another issue. And he gave me some really great advice. You know, he said, there's a little bit of money involved in polishing it down, but that will disappear quickly. You won't notice it, but what you will notice, if you keep the concrete the way it is, you'll notice that forever. Failing that, it was just ripping the whole thing up. And I didn't really want to put the other contractor through that, right? I mean, 5 tons of concrete and steel is a lot. And I didn't want to do that to the contractor, despite the experience. So he gave me some really good advice, got it done, amazing. And I flicked him a text image, and he said, isn't it great? He said, look, isn't it great when a plan starts coming together? And that was the whole thing. I'm like, shit, yeah, well, I've always had this picture in mind, and I'm so close to it now, after all I've seen as a whole, and this thing staring at me that wasn't quite finished, but involving the right people and the right level of support, and just asking questions, and not settling is a big thing too. Because I could have just said, oh, it is what it is. And that's not the case at all. You shouldn't have to settle for stuff, especially, I mean, if it's, whether it's construction or anything, relationships, right? The investment is significant. So it is what it is bullshit to me. You know, I'm like, no, I recognize that I am a perfectionist in a lot of ways, in a lot of areas of my life, and that's fine. But to see a guy come in today and he ground this thing by hand, he had a hand grinder. It was a big unit, but to see him down, and I was like, oh mate, you're gonna do that by hand? He said, yeah, no problem, mate, I'll get it done, I'll get it sorted for you. And he just sat down, and he said, and you know, here he was on his hands and knees doing this, and I just got to the end of it, and again I said to him, mate, unbelievable job. And he was a bit taken back by it, because I don't know whether he, you know, just go do it. And the guy says, yeah, thanks, mate, good work. But I said, mate, the way that this has just turned this whole thing around, you have been amazing. Thank you so much. And I sent his boss a text saying, mate, rock star.
Oh, good, bro.
Rock star. So here we are. Oh, so close. Peeps, the spa pool could be plugged in this weekend. The next D.M.C podcast could be coming to you live from the spa. Probably not. It's a family show. But just saying, it could. But it won't.
Hey, bro, it will be done by the time, because as you know, I will be in your neck of the woods first week of September. I don't know my exact schedule, but I'll be spending roughly 3 days in your hood, my man. So there we go. We need to figure out some rendezvous. We can both be in the spa, mate, for the episode.
Back in the day, we would have met at the pub and smashed a couple of beers, mate. But to tell you what, we'll just go have a spa.
Have a spa, have the steam rolling through the camera, you know, like. But mate, I love that story, bro. It's a cool way to sort of, when you can really appreciate crafts and people. So today was funny because I was out doing a bit of shopping with my wife and organizing some stuff, and I dealt with 2 different people. One person, I just had to try some clothing on for my new gig up in Auckland there, and I need to get some clothes sorted out. So they wanted me to try some stuff on. Went to the store, and the guy there just opened. I said, mate, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to buy anything from you, but I need you to help me try on some stuff. I need to get some sizing. And the dude was a complete legend. He goes, no worries, brother. He called me brother, which was funny, which was fitting. And I was like, let's go. And he got everything out. He gave me advice on what it looked like. He gave it, and I was at the end of it, like, mate, I'm coming back here because that service, I didn't buy nothing. I bought nothing, but mate, I want to come back because you crushed it today, mate. And he was loving it. He was an awesome dude, I was so impressed by his.
We talked a bit about that
service.
last week, positive experiences, and I went through a bit of it last night, because and Sheena, in our interview with Sheena Jane Martin, she talked about zooming out. And I think in those situations, like we can be so not self-absorbed or self-centered, but you don't really break out of your tunnel vision. We'll get a little wars up and we're going through our task day to day. But if we actually zoom out, you realize how your energy and your actions affect those around you. And the best example, I can say that how many times if you're in a group and you yawn, someone else yawns, or if you sneeze, someone else sneezes. Or if you smile, guaranteed, within a certain distance, someone will smile. That is the effect you can have when you zoom out and realize that your effort, your attitude, and your energy has way more effect than this. That stuff that radiates from here. When you're positive, when you walk down the street, like yesterday, mate, just walking to the car, big smile on my face. And people are looking, going, holy shit, what is that guy on? I'll tell you what I'm on. Life, man.
Life, bro.
Life, bro. High on life, bro. Interesting. Had great session at the gym, really starting to, because I find I pick up things during the day and I really turn that into a key focus. And it was about that, just that energy, that impact you can have on those around you. Sharing positive energy and just really, really supporting each other, that flow and effect, that positive ripple that we've talked about so many times. And it was true, just being able to share that. And I think also the great thing about a coaching experience, when you can get off and in to that little zone, where you could feel that connection and that energy. It's a real thing, peeps. If you haven't experienced it, when you can get close enough, when you're really challenging people and they lift, they really lift, and you see it and you feel it. That is the magic for me. And I saw so much of that last night. Incidentally, I met the husband of the young man that talked to me about, we talked about that guy that was going through depression and reached out and said such wonderful things. And I met his husband last night, which was again a wonderful moment. And I told him that was one of the greatest moments in my group fit life that I can remember. Full circle moment for me. And it's something that I will never, ever forget. It's something we aspire to do, is just help people, but on a deeper level. So to see him and welcome him, and to be able to share the energy and the joy he had, because he shared the experience with his partner. So to meet him firsthand again, it's just the way the universe works, baby.
That's cool, bro. That's very cool. I was just saying, when you were talking about that whole, when you're presenting a class and you're in that zone and what you provide, right? You feel that zone. So I remember, I did Māori studies in university when I was about 19, 20. So it's hard to remember. But there were these things that stuck with me in terms of what we learned. And one, it was called and it's probably wrong, but I'll research this again and double check. But it was the ihi, the wehi, and the wana, or something similar to this. And the first stage is like the energy when you're performing or you're giving out or you're coaching, for example. It's the energy that you're creating to those that are watching you, right? The next step is what they give back to you, right? And I get goosebumps when you start talking about it, because it reminds you. And when you're in a situation and you're presenting or you're doing something and there's a certain group of people that are giving themselves back to you and you feel it and you're like, fuck, let's go. Like, it might not be the whole group, but there's like a few people that are really digging it. And then you're like, yeah, let's go. And then it creates this this really atmosphere is created from all these energies that are giving and receiving and passing back. And mate, it's a beautiful thing. It's like being in that zone when you're in it, you just like, you don't ever want it to end. And mate, what a beautiful thing that happens, when that starts happening. I love that, mate. And that's something I've been missing, not coaching lately, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so good, bro.
Well, like what I find in those moments, and anything, and I can refer back to this contracting experience too, is life is a team sport. life's a fucking team sport. And as much as we think, yeah, we're on our own, we're running solo, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You are not solo, and there's a whole team that surrounds you. Some you're aware of, some you're not, that support you undyingly. And so I really embrace that and welcome as many members onto the team as possible, and creating teams within teams. There's different levels of love and support, but it's still love and it's still support and it's still fucking super important. I just love sharing those moments, mate. Honestly, like I've always had love and energy for the stuff that I do, but my level of passion has, I don't know, it's just accelerated so much. And that's the people, that's my awareness, that's the people that I'm surrounding myself with. And that's that whole thing about giving back, just being aware of your surroundings. I'm fortunate enough to train a couple of people at the moment, and I know that my job is not to teach them to go stand up, sit down, 1-2-1, to teach them the basic stuff. They're smart, they're intelligent, they can learn that. And when you get into any job, you feel as though you have to sink into the people that you're replacing, maybe, or the people that you recognize in that job. So you have to be them. You have to be 100% authentically you. And if you can get yourself to that space, all the other stuff is just complementing that light that shines inside of you. So learning to be comfortable in your own skin and to be able to cut through the bullshit and share it. And that's what I love about max intensity or high intensity training, because it blows that bullshit, that ego, those layers off real fast. And you can feel it, mate, when you are going max effort, when someone is not yelling but cheering you on. When you can feel it from the inside, your heart starts to race, your body gets warm, that energy, that fire, that passion, that light. Love it. If you haven't done it, get in. If you want to come and see either of us, wherever you are, if you're in Wellington, rip in, come see me, mate. Come and say hi.
Experience.
I do get that a fair bit, people coming up, some great comments and questions about the potty, which is amazing. But just come and be be part of the experience. You are the experience after all. You just got to open yourself up and just let it happen. Forget about all this resistance, the pathways again. So the ego is protection as well, right? We build up these layers, this character, if you like, and the ego can get out of control to make you look like a cop. You have this portrait, you create this character that isn't actually nice, because it's all about being robust and not getting hurt. And there's so many levels that you won't allow people to see the real you. So a lot of cocky people are actually very insecure, and it may take a big conversation to sit them down and talk to them about that. People used to think I was like cocky, but I'm just, like we've talked about this before, I'm just inquisitive. I'm in there. I just like asking questions. I can be full on, but that's just me. That's just my energy. There's nothing cocky, nothing pretentious. I would like to think that's the perception, but that's me. 100. I just dropped something. Did not lose that.
Like, it's cool, because when you're talking about, we've talked in the past about the types of people that the sooner you find yourself, the better, right? And so for some of us, it can be forever. And we didn't have access to listen to podcasts like this or to read as much stuff as what we're doing now. So like for me as well, that whole ego thing, that whole like not being yourself or authentic yourself, all through my rugby playing days, like you're sitting there and you're just like trying to be the same or follow the big guys because you think that they're the, like it's just so random, And so it's not until you it takes a long time. So like what I'm saying is, the sooner you figure out who you are and you unforgivingly be you, the better it is, Like, just imagine being able to be stress-free in those days. I used to walk into a room full of rugby players when I got selected for high-level teams and feel like I didn't belong there. So what would I do? I'd just try to be more staunch, be tougher, but walk around like you fucking cool as. Because in my head, I'm like, man, I shouldn't even be here. There's no way I'm good enough to be here. And so then you start following those elite players and doing the things they do. And the reason is, and it's a good lesson. I told my son this all the time, because I made mistakes in those days where I thought I could do what those elite guys were doing, but they were elite guys that were in the teams and doing what they wanted no matter what, and I wasn't, but here I am acting the way they are, and essentially then getting kicked off the team because you're not that guy. You're not a Dan Carter, mate. Dan Carter can drink vodka in the changing rooms because he's Dan Carter. You can drink nothing in the changing rooms because you're you know, like the brand newbie, you know, or whatever. So it's really interesting, eh?
Exactly. Be authentic, be humble, be real. Yeah, oh, mate, so many instances I see it a lot, and you know, may have suffered from that myself in the early career, because you have a goal in mind. You see people performing all the time, and that's the assumption that, hey, that's where I need to be, that's what I need to do. It's not until you do figure it out that, you know, it's the little quirks. People do come to see you, they see your name on the timetable, they appreciate who you are and what you do and your level of connection. Some amazing, wonderful, connected coaches, and some people just like to go and kick the shit out of them. They don't really care about the experience. They're just there to zone out, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But you know, first and foremost, I just want to be supportive and allow people just to experiment in that space. I heard a wonderful thing, and it was pretty sure it was Jay Shetty's Instagram, you know, and it's about the longest connection and relationship you will have is with yourself.
That's right.
Right? You will be with yourself longer than anybody else on this planet, give or take. You know, we will outlive our parents in most cases, and siblings for most parts. But yeah, the biggest relationship, you will spend the majority of time with yourself, by yourself. So in those moments when you are alone, get to know yourself. Like we talk about the self-talk, you know, just be prepared to go deep. You don't feel as though you need to hold back, and we can go right back to episode 1 where we talk about the environment. If you really feel that you cannot be yourself and you're not supported in doing so, then change the environment, because there are people out there that will love and support you and want the best for you, not the things that you do, but the things that you offer that are inherently the characteristics that you have, the energy, the love, the light that we all have, but you deliver it in your own special way. We are all energy, right? We are all, as the fifth agreement, 4 agreements, creators. We create. We are all creators, energy made up of the same stuff that the universe is made up of. Eventually we will return to the universe, but for now, live the shit out of this one, mate.
Bro, I read a good article yesterday about, you know, Quentin Tarantino, right? Have you seen something was on Instagram or something, but it talked about him, how he was like, he hasn't given a penny of his fortune to his mother, like nothing. And it was a vow he made to himself at the age of 12. And because when he was a young kid, he got in trouble for, I think, this type of screenplay he wrote or something he did. And his teachers sort of like shamed him for it. And then his mother came in and she joined in on that shaming of him. And she apparently did this to him, like, oh, my young screenwriter son, or some shit like that to him, right? As a 12-year-old. And in his head, he's like, that's it. Like like you're saying, you to change the environment. He's with the wrong people. If he had listened to them, you know, then he wouldn't be the guy that many of us on the planet know, and the movies he's created. And I mean, his mind is on a different level, the way that guy creates stuff and makes things. But imagine like him shutting himself in a room and just being like, nah, okay, I'm going to listen to my mother and my teachers, you know, 2 of the biggest influences on you as a young person, and not do what he does best in his world, you know, like. So I just found it quite interesting, especially when he's like, not a cent is going to, no car. What it said something along the lines of like, no house, no mansion, no car, nothing will ever come your way, and it hasn't.
Wow.
He's like,
on that, and that, I get it, and that you know, a lot of that is really fucking painful, because that's a lot to carry, because you know, we have gone over it before, that the opportunities for us to connect, especially with our parents as we move on, as we move houses, are limited. These are the people that brought you into the earth. And sure, mate, they might not have been fucking rock star parents, but they are your parents. You know, they may have had shit to carry and deal with. It is hard being a parent. Fuck, it's hard. It is super difficult. If you haven't, you don't know until you've had kids, right? You have great days, you have shit days. but you get through it.
Yeah.
And you do the best that you can with the tools that you have and what you have been taught.
Yeah.
Now, we're smart people now. The tide is changing. Parents are spending way more time with their children, which is wonderful. We're working on education earlier, teaching our kids more about life, about the special things, about energy, about love, and about time. Back in the day, it wasn't like that, but one day, Mr. Tarantino, his mother will not be there, and he just maybe you don't have to. I mean, he won't forget that shit, but you just have to say, okay, you probably have to forgive it, because that's a weight that they both carry. Imagine how the mother is feeling, because she doesn't know any better. She didn't know any better.
Well, that's like
but that's just my opinion, folks.
But bro, did you ever watch one thing I found quite interesting was one of the Anthony Robbins. Tony Robbins did the documentary years ago. Not your guru, or not your guru, was it? And he's talking to someone about her issues with her father and whatnot, and he's like saying, you've got to also show appreciation for, I know he was a shit whatever, but you still got to be thankful for the other things that he did show you or teach you or give you, because again, you learn things, whether they did, our parents did things the right way or the wrong way, we have learned from them, and some of those things we've learned will benefit us in our lives, right? So you've still got to thank them for X, Y, and Z, and still appreciate some of that stuff, because again, that's what shaped us and what made us who we are today. Sure, there might be some things that are sort of deep, dark shadow work that needs to be addressed, but again, some of it just might be things that So he's like, make sure you need to thank that guy for some of that shit he's done. He's taught you along the way,
Yeah, and look, I can't even scratch the surface in terms of when I talk about my upbringing. You can complain all you want about some of the things, but at the end of the day, I lived what I term a life of privilege. And sure, Dad might have pissed off at a young age for me, and I can complain all about it. But my mum was a rock star and did her absolute best as a solo mum to look after two kids. So I was fortunate that I still had mum to care, and she would work. And when you're a kid, you don't question where the money comes from, it just comes in. You still put your hand out and say, I want that toy, I want this. So like I say, you don't know what other people are going through. There are some horrible stories, and there are some horrible people, and a legacy of all of that real hard stuff, violence and all of that type of stuff that's got to stop. And if you have been through that, there are people you can talk to and places you can go, and I think it's important just to let that stuff out, and then just it's a fucking hard reset. With a lot of things, anything that deep, anything that emotional is a really, really hard reset. But you've got to be prepared to say, fuck it, I will not let the next generation go through that. It stops here. Be the one that stands up and says, it fucking stops with me, and you will find a level of support that you never knew existed. It takes courage, it takes bravery. Like I say, I can't even imagine some of the hurt and pain people have gone through, and that's the world we live in, the reality of it, and the pain that's carried. And I feel that, I feel that with a lot of people. But just what we're talking about is those conversations, We're talking about talking about stuff. Letting those ideas, having someone just to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I've been through. It's hard. It's hard.
And you were saying that we say quite a bit about it takes a whole community and a village to build, to raise a family, or to in that whole vibe. And when I think about, even yesterday I was talking about with my wife about the way that there were people within our small country town that helped our family, helped us get to rugby trainings or games that were hours drives away. And I'm just like, look, I can't wait to be able to do that for another family myself, to be able to be there, to be able to help other kids, and to be able to, sort of give back on that support. Because if I didn't have my friends' parents to be able to do that, I would never have played rugby. I wouldn't be able to travel. I couldn't afford, you couldn't afford my mother's car. She drove us one time and it blew up because the engine was so shit in the middle of the country at nighttime driving home. And thankfully a police car drove past. I was just thinking about this the other day, and drove us back home. And he was like shaming my mother for it in the car. I remember him as well. What an asshole. about like having us like parked on the side of the road in the middle of the night on the way back from rugby practice with my friend. And I was just remember thinking about like, fuck. But yeah, it was so, you know, those are those villages, the communities, your friends, your people that just all help and support. And you know, I've thanked that dad, my mate's father, many times, because he's just a legend. And I mean, that's what he allowed me to be able to play rugby as serious as I did and travel and do all this sort of stuff. So cool, to have those sort of resources and people around and to ask for help.
Yeah. Look, and you know, a friend of mine shared with me that they were going through a little bit of pain, and I knew, because, you know, I reached out to this person, and you know, when you do that, and you may be thinking of someone, and you think, fuck, I'll just text them, and you do it, and then you find out that something is wrong. And I love that. That happens way too much, peeps, for it to be an accident. I think that everybody has experienced that. Oh, I was just thinking about you. Oh, I was just talking about you. Oh shit, I meant to call you. But the big thing, you know, if you are experiencing loss, or you are experiencing pain, just to stop and center yourself, because that can cloud, and that can be all that runs through your mind and your thought process. But stop for a minute and recenter and think about the things that you do have, because at the end of the day, like I said to my friend, you have someone who will love and support you. You have a group of friends that think you are fucking amazing. And if I had to drive a distance to be there, fuck it, I would do it in a heartbeat. And we've talked about this before, that level of support, when you say, but back it up, peeps. If you're going to throw that information out there, better be prepared to back it up, right? You better be prepared to back it up and say it with earnest and mean it.
That's right.
And it's a powerful statement. If you have the opportunity to look someone in the eye and say that, followed by an embrace, fantastic, but reinforce. You know, so focus on the stuff that you do have. There are so many flipping amazing things in our lives. It's easy to get clouded, our judgment, our thought processes, with the dark stuff. You combat it every day, and again, I was thinking about that today. You know, it can be hard to be positive, because you're bombarded with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The more people you experience, you see the light and dark. You see people that are suffering. You see people that are having a great time.
Yeah.
And you see people floating in between. I mean, last night, great workout on cloud 9. All I wanted to do after that was spend time with my daughter and eat pizza. We went and got pizza, seasoned it perfectly. We were sitting waiting for my daughter's boyfriend to pick her up, just waiting outside the gym. And a young girl walked up and she says, "Oh, excuse me, do you have $1?" And, you know, we joke about it all the time, but this is the reality. People are in pain. People are in need. And you know, there are two schools of thoughts. You know, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do? And she said, "Look, I just want to get some chips or something." And I just said, "Look here," and I just gave her my pizza. And Annabelle said, "That was really nice of you." And I said, "Look, to be honest, I would rather give food if the person is genuinely hungry. And my only request in those moments is that person recognizes a kind act and will repay it." That's all. So recognizing the kind act, and make sure if you're doing something kind, just ask one thing that one day, might be today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, someone will come and ask you for something or for help. And if it is within your power, then do it. Don't even question it, because we need to be kinder. We need to offer that stuff freely. And so what, for me, a piece of pizza. And man, people will know me. All right. Couple of things. I have to be really sick to stay away from the gym and miss a workout, miss a coaching a workout. And that was me the other week, right? I was shit, in bad shape, and I missed a workout. So really sick. The other thing, carbs. Dirty carbs, pizza on a Wednesday night after 2 hours of training, high intensity, bro.
Love it.
I've got to be in a real good frame of mind and super kind to be able to give those carbs. And all I could think of was the amount of chili oil the oregano and the chili flakes that I'd seasoned that pizza with, and I'm like, look, there you go. Didn't even question it.
Right. So good.
Yeah, I mean, but just kind acts, peeps.
Mate,
kind acts.
On that one, when I first came back to New Zealand, I was living in this area in Christchurch, and I went to the supermarket one morning with Maddox, with my son, to get some supplies for lunches, whatever it was. And I just, it must have been $20 worth of, some bread, whatever it was. And I didn't even have my wallet, or the card wasn't there, or something was missing. And I'm standing in the checkout. It wasn't the self checkout because maybe I didn't know how to use it. But then I'm standing there. I'm like, oh shit! And I'm like, hold on, mate. Oh no! And I'm like, gotta go. And the guy right behind me just goes, mate, I got you. And the lady's like, are you sure? And he goes, yeah, I got you, mate. No worries. And so he just added it on, beeped it. And then I was like, mate, thank you so much, hey, bro. Like, I appreciate it. And he goes, hey, mate, no worries. Have a nice day. And then I would say probably within months later, here I am at the self-checkout at the supermarket. And the lady right beside me did the same thing. And she's got everything on the self-checkout ready to beep. And she's like, oh, no. And then I said, look, gotcha. So I did the old double tap on the side of the phone, the old Apple Pay or whatever it is, and just beeped on her thing for her and said, have a nice day. And she's just like, the same sort of shocking that I sort of had. She goes, oh my God, thank you so much. And I was like, hey, no worries. And as you said, just the awareness, I received kindness. I received that support from a stranger who just said, mate, I've got you, bro. Don't worry about it. And then for me to do the same thing was absolutely not even a second choice. As soon as I saw her look for something, I was like, I've got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. And it's so simple, but you've just got to be aware and be able to see that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be things. Can be a kind act. I remember, years ago on a super windy day in Lower Hutt driving through, and there was an old lady hanging onto a lamppost. She could hardly stand up. So I just stopped the car straight away and grabbed her and said, look, I didn't grab her. I said, look, let me help you. Can I help you? Where are you going? And I knew where she was going. I said, can I give you a lift? Please allow me to do that for you. And she said, yes. And I gave this fragile, beautiful old lady, probably the same age as my mother, who was very, very slight and didn't have the ability to walk. She was clinging onto a lamppost, the amount of cars that just drove past her. And I gave her a lift, and she was so appreciative. But that's just 5 minutes of my day, of my time, to be able to help someone who was obviously in need. It's like the person that drops on the ground, and the amount of people that funnel past, you see it all the time. They test that on TV. How many people actually stop and say, are you okay? If you see someone lying on the street, you think, oh, well, step over. How many times is it someone that's had a stroke, or is it someone that's fallen on hard times and needs our love and support and assistance? It's tough because, like I say, you're going through your own shit. You got so many things flowing through your own brain and your mind at the time, but just zoom out, peeps.
That's what I was going to say, because sometimes the more people that are around, the easier it is to like ignore that. And I remember being in Seoul one day, walking with a couple of these recruiters to some teaching job, and a lady in front of me tripped, like a sort of a bit of a trip, but she regathered herself, but then kept on walking, but dropped like her cardigan or something on the floor. So I picked it up and ran it up to her and said, oh, here you go. And when I came back, the gentleman that I was with was like, oh, the way he talked, David, he's like, oh, nice guy. Oh, yeah, super guy. And I was like, you wouldn't have done that? Like, you wouldn't have picked up this lady's cardigan, just ran it back up to her? Like, they thought I was some crazy superhero. I was like, this is, But I think the more people are around, people just get blind, look straight, ignore everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, and pride can be a funny thing, and ego can be a funny thing. But say, can I help you? Allow me to help you, please. I would love to, rather than just going, give me your bags.
Yeah. I'll look up to you.
Give me your bags. I'll get it. I was just lying down. Yes, there's the way to do it, but express kindness and love and support and energy. And I mean, there are people that take advantage of it that don't necessarily need help, that still, it's difficult, if you see someone sitting on a cell phone with a hat between their legs, smoking a cigarette, what is it, $35 for a pack of cigarettes, got a $1,200 iPhone, and the data charges that come, and are asking for money. It's difficult. I don't, where do you draw the line? It's not up to us to draw the line, but if you feel the necessity to help, and you can feel it too, like I will always look someone in the eye, fair and square, and you will know. You will know. It's what do you plan to do with this kind act? You know, imagine if we could pass that around the world and it came back to you. And that's the way we've got to look at it. I think karma is real, 100% good, and not so good if you just throw it out there, babe. Just throw it out there.
Roger that, big dog.
All I'm saying, but sorry, go.
No, mate, I was just going to say, what's so it is the end of the week, mate. What's happening this weekend for you, bro? What's going on in the world of Adam Rigby?
Well, mate, I've still got a ton of work to do over the next couple of days. A lot is going on work-wise. So using a lot of energy there, so being mindful. I've got time with the fam, critical for me. Hopefully, the spa is going in Saturday, so we can put that on the courtyard and enjoy that with the fam. That will be a very nice moment for us. We can sit and have a bit of a giggle because it's been a long time, so I'm hoping that will be the case. Just catch up with my mumsies, just sort of out some hearing aids for her, so trying to work through that with her. So it's just trying to dedicate family time, because you know what it's like when you get absorbed at work, when you're in pressure. It's very, very hard to try and snap out of that. So I really try and have that line where I just go, okay, that's enough, that's work, switch off, close laptop, done. It's hard to get away from the phone. As you know, we were trying to start this, mate. The phone was going bing, 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 bing. But yeah, tools down. So my priority will be 100% fam bam. Got some big stuff coming up next week. We've got workshops which are presenting to the instructors, the new releases, the new round of music. So privileged to be able to do that, and have the opportunity to do it with a great friend and fellow instructor of mine who's an absolute scream. So that'll be such good fun. See a lot of people and instructors, shared passion, shared joy. So that's what it'll all be about for me. And connecting. And then the following week, we're going up to Auckland to see some friends, hang out with some friends that we haven't seen in a long time. In between that, I think I have 4 trips planned: Wanganui, Napier, and it looks like Gisborne. Now that I want to get up to. So non-stop. So what I'm trying to do is just allocate time. And, I think, like you were saying on your daily last night, plan in the night to succeed during the day. And that's the same thing. Like, all I can do is plan to make sure that I know what I'm doing each day and complete my tasks for that day without looking too far ahead. Because if I think of the amount of Ks that I have to travel, which are in the thousands over the next 2 weeks, in fact, the amount of conversations that I need to have, the amount of people that I have to help, all I'll do is work through it daily,
That's right.
Like you say, get my kit out, get my number ones ready to go. A great thing I'm doing tonight too is just connecting with some mates over a platform called Zwift, which is where you hook your bike up in a digital platform. You get an avatar, which is a digital version, and you ride together. We're connected through an app, so we can chat. So we'll just ride together in this digital platform and talk shit.
So good.
Magic. Mate, nothing better than a herd of males rolling around talking absolute crap. We'll get to share some laughs again, but it's just, I've got a mate in Hamilton, one of his great mates in Auckland, who I haven't met yet, but excited to meet him. I've got a friend in Perth, and hopefully my friend in Canada will be able to connect. It'll be midnight for him, 7 p.m. for us, but he's still keen to jump on the bike and ride with us for a couple of hours. So it'll be exciting. Those are the types of things, just connecting. There's no excuses now, eh? Technology allows us just to do this type of stuff face to face, or pick up, call, messenger, do whatever. You had a great example where you someone popped into your head. You're like, fuck, you know what? I'm gonna message this person. And the same thing, like I all the stuff that's going on in India with COVID, an acquaintance that I met through Les Mills just messaged me out of the blue and said, hey, how you going? I'm like, bro, so good to hear from you. How are you? And he's going on, he said it's messy. but starting to get better, where he's lost friends and family through COVID. So yeah, there's still a lot of shit, there's still a lot of pain going on in the world, but to be able just to connect from halfway across the world, just to say hi, hello, how are you? If you have people that are in that position that are halfway across the world, acquaintances, friends, just reach out, say hi. Man, it's good. It's good. You know, when you see a familiar face, hear a familiar voice, gold. Love that stuff. I love it.
So good, bro. And you're right. If it pops in your head, like act on it sometimes. Either write it down on a list and sit down one morning and just contact, like, in my online programs years ago, I used to make a social challenge. Was it to contact like 3 or 4 people from your past and just say, hey, what's up? Just thinking about you. I hope you're well. And like, just have random people. And how cool is that? And you do it on a weekly. Do it every week.
Yeah, and you don't have to ask a question and say, how are you? You're right. You know, because that's the expectation that someone will answer. But just to know that someone is, I'm thinking of you, I hope you're going great. And people will say, oh yeah, I've been having a shit time. And if they want to talk to you, but to know that someone is there thinking of them can be such a great, great thing. So and there's so many, you know, so many people and people that I've connected with all over the world that I think about all of the time, that I wish were my next door neighbors. What a great world, you know. Imagine if all of you mates, but that's the reality. Digitally, that's us.
Yeah.
Digitally, that's our neighborhood. Digitally, next door. You know, you want to borrow a cup of sugar, get online. May take 3 weeks to post. But,
or I'll be there.
Yeah. Just reach out, be there for each other. These are still unprecedented times. There's still this stuff going on with COVID, and now I am fully vaccinated. My mum's had her vaccination, which was great. She didn't even feel it, mate. They jabbed her. She just sitting there going, yep, next. Didn't even have the sore arm. She battled on. That's the generation.
Mate, I'm part of the generation that went to Dunedin for university, mate, so I can't catch anything. I ate raw chicken every night.
Shit, I bet, mate. Yeah.
If you went to university in Dunedin, yeah, you're pretty good, mate. You're immune to anything. Nah, it's funny, eh? Raw chicken.
We survived a variety of stuff, didn't we, mate? You know, there's the kind of saying, see you, mum, when we be back? Tea time, disappear, running down the bank, running through rivers. You know, all of the type of stuff, come back covered in sticks and dirt and stones. How was your day? Great.
Oh, mate, I've got scars on my thigh that are a great story. Where I borrowed a motorbike that was in our garage, an XR200. I must have only been about 13. My mate got his 4-wheeler. We went for a cruise around this farm. I crashed into a barbed wire fence, tore my thigh. I was in a pair of fluorescent shorts because fluoro was big back then, and tore my thigh apart. And because we knew we'd get in trouble, we didn't even go home. It was like from barbed wire from an old farm. So we go to the river and we drive around. I finally get home and we're just like blood and shorts everywhere. I'm like, probably need a tetanus shot. I don't know. Yeah, mate, just good stuff, eh? Good stuff.
I have a very good example. Actually, I've got a deep scar on my thigh where I fell off a fence with a local school swimming pool, and yeah. Just went to bed and woke up. It wasn't good, so went to the hospital with my friend to turn up because he fell off the same fence laughing at me and nearly broke his ankle. So yeah, it was. And how did you do this? Well, yeah, okay, awkward, but 18 stitches later and a scar. Still a great story. Still a great connection. Still something you remember. Why? Because there's a mark on my body to commemorate.
You'll never forget it, mate.
A dumb act. But here I am. So I survived. Yeah, I've got many scars, but there's also many great stories, experiences, and connections as a result. So go out, get dirty. Muddy. Get muddy.
And dirty. And scarred.
Get muddy and scarred.
Awesome, bro.
Rough
hey, mate.
It up.
All right, team. All right, D.M.C team. There you have it for today. I think it's time to cruise out. It's that time of day where we've got some things that need to get done. Well, I have anyway. Bro, and I know you do too. But mate, appreciate you, bro. Thanks for the chats today. Thank you all for watching and listening. Bro. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for those that have been picking up on some journaling. I had a good comment from one of our listeners just yesterday who's picked up one of the new journals that I'm using, the Eric journal. And she's a couple of weeks into that. She's loving it. So again, it's good to get those comments and feedback from you. So please keep that up.
Yeah, I'm using my notes as a journal, writing down the stuff that I think is relevant and important because you forget a lot of stuff. So trying to write down those moments, those phrases, those things that pop into my head, it's a great. So if you don't have a journal, use that. You have a phone, you know you do. You
Yeah.
know you do. Continue to, if you can, like, subscribe, share with your friends, continue to watch, continue to learn, but most of all, continue to be kind, continue to challenge yourself. And one thing, right? You've got to be prepared to try, because when you try, you learn, and when you learn, you grow. Okay, so you've got to be prepared to do those things. So just give anything a try, be positive. Remember, zoom out and just share. Your energy affects people, so be positive, be kind, share that smile, go out and let's make the world a better place. We love you. Thank you so much for the support, Cody. You're the man. I can't wait to catch up, bro. We're only a couple of weeks from massive high fives. So I'm just preparing my hand for that now, mate, because you're going hard. Yep, you're going hard. Kung Fu styles.
Love your work, bro. All right, everyone. Take care,
care.
everybody. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.